Hi book lovers, this is Jenny at Julia Baby Jen, and this is my March TBR. Alright, so March is going to be a little bit different for me this month. I have been doing an author of the month every month, and I had planned to do Maggie Stiefvater for March, which I was very excited to do. I just finished rereading The Raven Boys, and I thought I would reread the rest of the series and then read The Raven King, and then I haven't read the Wolves of Mercy Falls series yet, and I thought that would be a fun one to read. But then, change of plans. It turns out all my Maggie Stiefvater books are going to end up in Arizona in March. I'm going to be mailing them out soon to my bestie Karen, who is attending the Tucson Book Festival, or Tucson Festival of Books, excuse me, with my other good friend Jen from Today in Jen's Library. And last year, me and Karen went, and Jen sent us a whole bunch of books, and we got them signed for her. This year, I'm not able to go, but they are both going, so I am sending some of my books to Karen, and she's going to have them signed for me for the event. So for most of the month, my books will be in Arizona. So I guess I'm not going to be reading Maggie Stiefvater in March. And then my other plan was in April was I was going to read V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab. My Victoria Schwabs will also be in Arizona because she will be at the Tucson Festival of Books as well. So I decided, well, that's two authors. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a little hiatus from Author of the Month and get caught up with some other reads. I have a whole bunch of new releases that I've gotten that I haven't read yet. I have a huge stack of books from last year, the TBR, that I never read. I have some books from the library I need to read. So I just decided I'm not going to have an Author of the Month, and I'm just going to read whatever I want to read this month, which is kind of a exciting thing for me, to just not plan my month out and just kind of read what I want. I do have some books though. For my TBR, I have some library books out and just a few that I wanted to read for sure. I don't know if I'm going to read all of these books, but these are the ones I checked from the library. I may not end up reading all of these, but that's okay. So yeah, and then I'm going to pull some books out of my TBR jar like I do every month as well. Everything else will just be kind of what I want to read when I want to read it. So let's get going. First of all, this is not a library book. I have Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare on there. This was on my January TBR and I did not get to it, and I really want to read it. So this is one of the few that I definitely am going to read in March, I know for sure. So this is number one on my TBR, really. I'm definitely going to be reading Lady Midnight. I cannot wait to read this new series. I'm very excited. And then I also have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which has been on my TBR for so long, since it released, I think. I had it on my November TBR, and I still haven't read it, so it needs to get read. I want to read this in March, definitely. So, Crooked Kingdom, the sequel to Six of Crows. I love this series. This is a story about 6 criminals and outcasts who form together to pull off this impossible heist. And none of them like each other, and they're all kind of despicable in their own way, but you grow to love these characters. It's a wonderful fantasy, and this is a duology, so this is the end of the series, so I really want to read this, and I've been wanting to read it for so long, so yeah. Then the rest of the things I have to show you are all library books. So first I have A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I started this actually on audio a while ago, and I never finished it. And I was just browsing through my library and saw it. I'm like, oh, maybe I will try the library book. Not that I didn't enjoy the audiobook. It was okay. I just have not been listening to very much audio lately. Seems like I get to about halfway through the audio and I just kind of get bored of it. There's only been a few that I can think of that don't really, I don't know what it is about it, but I get to the point where I just want to finish the darn book. It takes me forever to listen to audio because I really only have time to listen to audio when I'm in my car, and I'm only in my car maybe 50 minutes a day. So that's, quite a lot of time. And then sometimes I'm not always listening when I'm in the car either because of traffic or whatever. So yeah, it tends to take forever. So I thought I would go ahead and try to actually read the book because it was really interesting, and the sequel just came out, and I would like to read that too. So this is kind of like a retelling of Sherlock Holmes. It's like a modern day Sherlock Holmes, but these are presuming that Sherlock and Watson actually did live. And these are the descendants, Charlotte Holmes and, oh, what's the other kid's name? Jamie Watson. And they kind of team up because there's murder in their boarding school, and so they're the prime suspects. So yeah, I'm excited to finally finish this. This book I've been seeing everywhere, and I really want to read it. The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles, or Jeff Giles maybe? I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, sorry. This is about Grim Reaper type of a story. It's like, it looks really good. I think it is kind of a fantasy thing. I love this, One More Soul, but it has to do with souls and stealing souls and that kind of thing. And I've heard really good things about this, and I really want to read this. So the cover just looks really interesting to me too. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I have Glitter by April Lynn Pike. Didn't know that this was I hadn't even heard of this book, but I usually follow what April Lynn Pike publishes. I haven't read all of her books, but I have read some, and I do tend to follow her, kind of. And this is actually like it's modern day, kind of an alternative reality where it's kind of like a dystopian society, and the rich in the Palace of Versailles, they act like they still are in like the 1800s with the hair and the way they dress and all that. And there apparently is this drug called glitter. And the heroine in this, she gets kind of sold into this palace thing by her mother. She wants nothing to do with it. And to buy her way out, she's trying to deal this drug called glitter. So it looks really interesting, and I grabbed it. I thought I would try it. Then I saw this on BookTube not long ago. This had another BookTuber I watched. I can't remember who it is right now. Really recommended this, and my library just happened to have this book, and I didn't even know it. The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge, and this looks really, really good. So this is about a tree that tells secrets, but you have to tell a lie to the tree to get the secret or something like that. And it looks really good fantasy. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I grabbed Runaways by, who is this by? Well, that would be good if I knew who it was. Oh, Brian K. Vaughan, who wrote Saga and a whole bunch of other graphic novels. This is a Marvel one called Runaways. It kind of looks like an MG kind of a graphic novel. I saw it recommended somewhere. I've kind of been interested in reading more graphic novels lately and things like that. So, so yeah, I thought I would try that. And this would just sitting on the table, and so a lot of these books I wasn't really planning to check out. I just was kind of browsing around the library and found them. Courage to Soar by Simone Biles. So this is the Olympic champion, the world's best female gymnast probably ever of all time. And this is kind of her story. So I thought I would enjoy this. And actually Tessa wants to read this too. So yeah, just some more information on Simone. And I saw that Lori Hernandez also wrote a book, and my library has that too. So I might have to read that after I read this. I get into reading, I just get into women's gymnastics because I was in gymnastics when I was a kid. Not for a real long time or anything. Once I got to the point where I had to step up my gymnastics, it would have been too much money for my parents, and so I had to basically quit. So wow, look at that photo of her. That's incredible. Oh, she's so incredible. Anyway, so yeah, I thought I would read this. And then I grabbed a couple of books for some challenges. I'm doing my Around the World challenge, and this just came into my library. Turn right at Machu Picchu, and this is about obviously the famous archaeological site in Peru, and so I thought I would read about this. So it has some photos, but mostly it's an actual book about how, just about the site, so, and how it was discovered basically in modern time. So yeah, I thought I would read that. And then I got this book, To Capture What We Cannot Keep, which takes place in Paris, so it'll be a France book for my Around the World, but it's also a Winter in Paris book, which is what I need for my 4 Seasons challenge, so that's why I thought I would read this, and I've seen it actually on a BookTube. I've actually seen this on BookTube since I picked it up from the library, so I'm like, oh yay, good, it looks like it's going to be a good book, so yeah. So that's kind of what I have on my TBR right now, tentatively. A few of those, like I said, for sure, I'm definitely going to read. Most are library books I may not get to in March, but so yeah, those are kind of my tentative reads there. I also have a whole long stack of books over on my TBR bookshelf that I want to read, so I'll probably pick a few from that, just depending on my mood. And now it's time for me to pull out of my TBR book jar and see what books I'm going to pull out of this. So I'm going to pull 3 out of this. Oh, one other thing, I have, like I said, I had Lady Midnight on there. It was from my January TBR that I didn't get to. I did really well in January. I only missed 1 book, and that's the best I've ever done on my TBR. February, we've still got a week left in the month, so I don't know if how I'm gonna finish, but I don't think I'm gonna get all the books read that are on my TBR, so a few of those I will be reading in March. Like I said, I kind of want March to be a little bit of a catch-up month, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like I just couldn't decide on another author. After Maggie Stiefvater and V. Schwab were kind of the 2 authors I really wanted to read next, and I'm sure I could think of another one, but I just decided one didn't pop in my head right away, so I decided, yeah, I just would just read whatever I want, which is a really strange concept for me because I usually plan everything out. But I am going to go ahead and pull 3 books out of my TBR jar. Like I said, if this may get bigger after I get done with February and see what I haven't read. So let's see. Oh, A Clockwork Heart. This is actually the 2nd book in the trilogy. I have the whole trilogy on my shelf. The first book, A Conspiracy of Alchemists, I have read, but I wanted to reread it when I did this trilogy because it's been so long and I really loved it, and I'm kind of excited to reread that book. So I'm going to put this back in. I'm going to grab A Conspiracy of Alchemists instead because I wanted to read the whole trilogy this year. Not doing very good showing this on camera, and I'm throwing things now. Oh, The Shadow Hour, which is the sequel to The Girl at Midnight. Where is that book at? I actually wanted to reread The Girl at Midnight before I read The Shadow Hour because, again, it's been a little while. And I loved this fantasy, and I kind of wanted to get a good refresher on it because I really want to enjoy my second read of the 2nd book. So I guess I'll be adding this onto my TBR too. So, because this isn't on my actual shelf, it's not a part of my TBR. So I still need to read The Shadow Hour since I pulled that out. So I will add this on there too. All right, one more. Oh, Chasing the Rose. All right, so I will go grab those books really quick. Okay, so the first one I had pulled was A Clockwork Heart, but I'm going to read the first book, A Conspiracy of Alchemists by Alicia Schwartz. This is a steampunk series, and it's kind of a unique one, and I really loved this book, and I never did, it was really hard to find these books. They're not published, I don't think. It's called The Chronicles of Light and Shadow is the name of the series. And I loved this book. It's really fun adventure, travel adventure, fun. Oh, it's just so much fun. I really loved it. And these books are just gorgeous books. But I did find a copy of this. I got a copy of all 3 of them. Sky Pirates, though, is like a mass market small paperback. I can't find a hardback anywhere. I'm still looking, but at least I can read it eventually. So it's been so long since I read this, I'm going to reread this, and I'm really excited to reread this one. And then I had pulled The Shadow Hour, which is a sequel to The Girl at Midnight. So I'm going to reread The Girl at Midnight. This is actually a pretty quick read. Really good fantasy. And then I will read the sequel, which I bought when it came out, and I'm really excited. This is by Melissa Gray. So yay, good fantasy. And then the last one I pulled was Chasing the Rose, an adventure in the Venetian countryside. So I picked this up at the Dollar Tree, and I just fell in love with the cover. It's beautiful. It has beautiful illustrations in it too. Just gorgeous. It's just a beautiful book, and I think this is actually a nonfiction. Yeah, this is actually a nonfiction or a memoir book. So that's pretty good. So yeah, this was on my. I found this at the Dollar Tree, and I threw this on my TBR jar for it because I wanted to read this year. I don't know a lot about it, but it looks really good, and it's just a beautifully, adorably cute book. So that will be a lot of fun to read in March, especially since spring is coming. It looks kind of like a fun springish type of book. So I guess that is my March TBR. This is a really weird TBR video. I'm sorry. Normally I'm way more organized than this. Like I said, I just don't really know what I want to read. My plans kind of got thrown for a loop with the whole sending my books to Arizona thing, which I'm thrilled about. I'm sad that I'm not going to meet these authors, but at least I can get my book signed. But it threw me off for everything else, so I don't know. We'll see how the month goes. I really don't know how I'm going to do on reading. I'm hoping to read a lot. I don't know what I'm going to read. I have so many books. I just want to read all the books. I'm in that mood right now where I just want to read everything that I see. So we'll see. Leave me comments below on what you're reading in March, or if you want to talk about any of these books. I hope everyone has a good day. I will talk to you later. Bye.